I did not grow up in a Christian home. I had great parents. I had a great childhood. I would go to church like growing up with friends occasionally, but that was really the extent of my experience.
I think mine was a little bit different. When I grew up, my dad was a little bit, had mental and physical and emotional abuse and some alcoholism and things that would make the home life a little difficult. With the home life that I had, I got bullied a lot at school, so my grades weren't real great. So when I take that home, it didn't help the home life too much either. That was difficult for a long time. By 14, I didn't attempt a suicide, but I'd contemplated suicide multiple times, to the point of a shotgun in my mouth with my finger on the trigger at the last attempt. Just with school and the bullying and the home life, it was getting to be too much. At 17, I lost my childhood best friend to a car accident. He passed away. By 18, I'd lost where I was living. So I moved into my best friend Jason, his parents' camper in their backyard with no power and heat for a winter in Indiana. At 20, my best friend Joe, he was killed in a car crash. He was hit head on by a driver, and he was killed. Being semi-homeless and losing my two best friends and things like that, it was a tough time in my life. I grinded it out till I was about 25 and realized that I wasn't going to college. I wasn't going anywhere in life. I'd already had enough pain for a while, and I wanted to do something different. So I just decided I was going to join the Army. November 2004, we were going house to house and doing searches in the city, and we were fighting insurgents for a full day, 10-hour day. We were fighting the same city block, and we got everybody narrowed down to the last two houses to where we could contain them. We kicked in the front door, and there were 6 armed insurgents standing there with their weapons at the ready, and they opened fire on us. They shot Sergeant Laser 4 times, and he fell to the ground, and I went to step over him to get clear of the doorway, and a snap of the finger, I wasn't in the doorway anymore. And I was about 5 or 7 feet left of the doorway with my weapon laying in the dirt, and I couldn't figure out how I got there or why. So we collected ourselves and we walked a couple blocks down to where we could find some medics for assistance. And through their assessment, they found that I'd been shot 5 times from about 15 feet away. For the rest of my life, I've always felt that there was either an intervention of some sort, whether it was a God or angel or who or what it was, I don't know, but I really firmly believe in my heart that something happened to me that day because it wasn't natural. I talked to all my guys and nobody touched me, and it was just that fast. I came home after the military, and Julie and I met and we got married, started our life together. And we didn't live a Christian life after our marriage. We were just married, but for 15 years I had that in the back of my head, my Fallujah story, and I firmly believed it and still do, that something happened that just wasn't natural. And if you believe it that much and you believe that it is divine intervention of some sort, then why don't you live the life if you're really convicted by that belief? And I wrestled with that for a long time. So we're using that story to kind of like, maybe we should start going to church. And so some friends invited us to come here in 2018, and we came for a couple weeks or months or what have you. And it's a great place, and we just didn't click. It wasn't the right time. We weren't ready to receive at that time. And so we go through a couple more years, and we get to 2020. COVID had hit. Yep. And it's just nagging on me, my experiences, my situation. So I knew that there was an online presence here, and the sermons were online. So I went online to look it up and just started scrolling through, and there's hundreds of them there, and I didn't know which one to pick, so I just picked one, and within the first 3 minutes or so, Pastor Craig's talking about a program called SOAR, and it's for people that have had an abortion in their life, how to recover from that, how to deal with it the right way. And that's something that we've had an unfortunate experience with. And so we discussed it, and
he pushed. For me, the abortions I pushed down, right? If you didn't talk about them, they didn't happen, right? Because deep down, you know it's wrong. he called Heather, and I think she suggested one night, and we were like, oh no, we couldn't do that night. So it was kind of like more me so probably than Andy. It was kind of like excuse after excuse, and she was like a dog with a bone, right? She was like not giving up, and so finally we settled on a night. So it was a Friday night that we came, and I left every single one crying. I was so thankful it was on Friday nights because I was just exhausted by the end of it. I kept saying through the whole thing was like, I don't know how to forgive myself. And then Heather kept saying, that's not for, it's Jesus' job if Jesus can forgive you, then how can you say you can't forgive yourself?
We came to SOAR as non-Christians. We weren't faith believers. We didn't have a home church. This was something we found online. And Crossroads and the SOAR program, and Heather took us in with open arms, and we started going through the class and the process of everything. And it's spiritually oriented recovery. So everything is centered around the Bible and what the Bible says and how we're going to deal with this biblically. And it was like having a Christian mentor with a topic. So it was not only were you recovering from the abortions, it was also, in our case, it was teaching us how to be Christians. I struggled with survivor's guilt for a long time. Again, if you truly believe that there's an experience that happened that day, then the why me when other people are dying around you and getting hurt, that was tough. And I still struggle with it a little bit. It's tough. Even this many years later, you're still not sure why, but that's not for me to question. And God's looking at the bigger picture, right? I see what's around me today, and I think, well, why would you save me then for today? Well, it's not about today. Maybe it's 5 or 10 or 20 years from now yet. Maybe my story will help someone else. I don't know, but it won't help unless I tell it. So it's time to get it out there and let people see that it's, even if they're struggling in their life, other people have struggled too. And nobody's perfect, but we're all here to help in whatever way we can.